To get started, create a new polygon using the polygon tool. Reduce the number of sides of the polygon to 5, use the star ratio to turn the pentagon into a star, and use the round corners tool to round the corners of the star. Press Command+A on Mac or Control+A on Windows to select the entire artboard area, and using the Move tool and the Align tool, align the star to the center. Use the Polygon tool again to create a new 7-sided polygon. Center it as well by pressing Command+A and using the Move tool and the Align tool. Double-click on the polygon image in the Layers window to set the colors of the gradient. Choose colors that suit your needs. I chose bright yellow plus orange to give a gold look. Using the Polygon Corner Rounder, round the corners of the shape you created. I selected the star and decided to make it a little smaller. Double-click on its image in the Layers window to reset its color. Just like the previous polygon, I also chose a yellow and orange color. Great, let's duplicate the back polygon we created by pressing Command+J on the keyboard and then scale down the new polygon. Reduce the corner rounding of the smaller polygon to match the visibility of the larger polygon, then duplicate it again and reduce it just like I did. Change the colors of the new polygon. I chose to color the inside area of the badge in shades of blue. This is a good time to make the star smaller so that it is inside the blue polygon. Select the middle polygon, open its gradient window and click reverse to reverse the sides of the color. The color that was on top goes down and the color that was on the bottom goes up. I also decided to change the color tones a bit to more orange-reddish tones. Select the star again, duplicate it and scale it down. Reduce the radius of the corner circle of the new star. This is a good time to select the first star and change the colors. I decided to make all the objects I created smaller to leave room under the badge for another decoration that will be below. Don't be afraid to make changes to the shapes you created. For example, I chose to completely remove the rounded corners from the top star and make it smaller. It's time to do some magic. Select the blue polygon and open the blending options window. Select inner shadow and add a shadow. I chose a dull blue color. Change the angle of the shadow so that the top part is shaded more than the bottom. This will give the impression that the direction of the light is coming from above. Once you're done, click OK. Next up is the big star. Open the blending options window and add a drop shadow to it in the shadow color you chose earlier. Pay attention to the angle of the shadow. If the light is coming from above, the more shaded side should be at the bottom. Now I'll share with you one of the best tricks I can teach you. Select the middle polygon and open its blending options window. Click on drop shadow and reduce the distance to 0. Change the color to a light yellow color to match the look of the frame. Click on inner shadow and here we also reduce the distance to 0. Change the color of the shadow to yellow and see the result. Select the largest polygon, open the blending options window and add a yellow inner shadow just like I did. Great! Select the middle polygon, right-click on it in the Layers window and choose Copy Layer Style. You have copied the layer style. Now select the small star, right-click in the Layers window and choose Paste Layer Style. This is a good time to note that the channel is still in its growth stages. Click like to support and subscribe to stay updated. Select the big star and then press the P button on your keyboard to select the pen tool. Using the pen tool, create a shape that divides the star from its top middle to its top right corner, just like I did. Press Alt on Windows or Option on Mac, and by clicking the mouse between the two layers, you will create a clipping mask. Notice that the triangle you created passes exactly through the vertices of the two stars. Color the triangle a light yellow. Nice. Duplicate the triangle you created, select the top vertex and move it down. To make the shape fit over the star area, you can create another point using the pen tool and change its position just like in the video. Color the new shape a duller color. Duplicate the two shapes we created. Press Command+T on your keyboard. Move the reference point to the left side of the created rectangle and flip the shapes horizontally. Change the colors of the new shapes and remember, the light comes from above. The little star needs some color treatment. Maybe change its color from a gradient to a solid color. Press P on your keyboard, change the fill of the shape from a gradient to a solid color, and change the color to yellow. This is also a good time to edit the drop and inner shadows in the blending options. I also add a yellow inner shadow to the large star. Before we move on to the decoration, I want to specify the coloring of the inner shapes of the large star. Let's start by adding a feather to each of the inner shapes of the large star. You can see the subtle blur created between the shapes. Next, I'll change the color of each of the shapes to match the overall color scheme of the badge. When working on game UIs, the little details make all the difference. It's amazing to see what this badge has become, right? I want to add a subtle drop shadow to the big star to give it a three-dimensional shape. Open the blending options window for the big star and click the plus in the drop shadow row to create another shadow. Reduce the distance and size of the drop shadow and change the color from a dull blue to a dull orange just like I did. The first part is behind us. Now it's time to work on the badge's decoration. Using the polygon tool, create a new polygon behind the badge and set it to 5 sides. If necessary, center the polygon and flip it. Duplicate the polygon you created, place the duplicate behind the layer of the previous polygon and enlarge it. Feel free to change the position of the vertices of the polygon. It is just very important to remember that any change of a vertex on one side must also be symmetrical on the other side. Select the top polygon, press P on your keyboard and change it from a solid color to a gradient. I chose to use shades of blue. Do the exact same thing for the bottom polygon. Of course, you can continue to try to match the shapes of the decorations to the design you created. Select the top decoration, open the blending options window and add a stroke to the polygon. Set the stroke to inside and increase its size. Change its fill type to gradient and change the stroke colors to shades of gold that match the overall design. Add an inner shadow in dull blue and increase its size. Remember the direction of the shadow we defined in the previous steps of the video. If the light comes from above, the shadow falls. The direction of the shadow is relevant for both the blue area and the colors of the gold stroke. Copy the layer style of the top decoration and paste it into the layer of the bottom decoration. As you can see, the result did not come out well because of the shape of the bottom decoration. Change the position of the vertices of the bottom polygon to get the best result possible. This is a good time to have some fun and try new shapes. We want to add a subtle drop shadow to the decorations to create a 3D effect, just like we did for the star, remember? Copy the style of the bottom layer and paste it onto the top decoration layer. By pressing Command plus clicking on the layer image in the Layers window, you can select the area of the bottom decoration. Now create a new layer above the lower decoration and below the upper decoration. With the help of the brush tool and the symmetry options, you can add an additional shadow inside the area of the lower decoration. Use dull colors and a soft brush to add shadow. Feel free to change the opacity of the shadow. You can always change the blending options a bit. I made some changes to the sizes and colors, but of course it's up to you. I thought about adding some orange to the frames. What do you think? And that's it. I hope you liked the result. Feel free to ask questions or make suggestions in the comments below. I promise to read and maybe even comment. I was Raymond. See you in the next video.